Ancient Echoes. Prophecies of Modern Nations Found in the Ancient Scriptures. Part 1. Introduction. Sowing the Seeds of Mystery. Welcome, seekers of ancient truths, to a realm where flickering candlelight dances with the shadows of forgotten ages. Tonight, we journey into the heart of the sacred texts, guided not by dogma, but by the quiet whisper of history. Have you ever wondered if the echoes of our modern world, its nations and its empires, might be found nestled within the dusty scrolls of antiquity? Could the prophets of old, standing at the crossroads of their own tumultuous eras, have glimpsed the distant future, foretelling the very geopolitical landscape we inhabit today? Join us as we peel back the layers of time, sifting through enigmatic visions and cryptic pronouncements to uncover a breathtaking possibility that the ancient scriptures hold not merely historical accounts, but prophetic blueprints of nations yet to be. Part 2. The Deep Dive. A journey of profound discovery. A. The historical tapestry and cultural lens. To truly appreciate the depth of these prophecies, we must first immerse ourselves in the world from which they emerged. The ancient Near East was a crucible of empires, a land of shifting alliances, constant conflict, profound spiritual currents. Prophets like Daniel, Isaiah, Ezekiel, and Jeremiah were not disembodied voices but men deeply embedded in the political and cultural realities of their time. They witnessed the rise and fall of great powers: Assyria, Babylon, Persia, Greece, and Rome, and their prophecies often spoke directly to these immediate threats and destinies. Yet, within these pronouncements aimed at contemporary struggles, scholars have long identified patterns and symbolic language that seem to transcend their immediate context, pointing towards a much grander, unfolding narrative of human history. The very concept of nation and kingdom held immense weight in the ancient world, often tied to divine favor or judgment, and it is through this lens that we must interpret their foresight. B. Decoding the Scripture, unveiling the evidence. Let us now turn to the sacred texts themselves, examining passages that resonate with striking specificity concerning the characteristics and destinies of nations. Consider the Book of Daniel, a foundational text for understanding prophetic timelines. In Daniel chapter 2, King Nebuchadnezzar dreams of an immense statue, its head of gold, breast and arms of silver, belly and thighs of bronze, legs of iron, and feet partly of iron and partly of clay. Daniel interprets this dream as a sequence of world empires: Babylon, gold; Media Persia, silver; Greece, bronze; and Rome, iron. But it is the feet of iron mixed with clay that truly captivate our attention. Daniel states, "And as the toes of the feet were partly of iron and partly of clay, the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly fragile. As you saw the iron mixed with soft clay, so they will mix with one another in marriage, but they will not hold together, just as iron does not mix with clay." What could this fragmented, yet persistent, mixture of iron and clay represent? For centuries, theologians and historians have debated this. Many have seen in the legs of iron the Roman Empire, which indeed divided into eastern and western halves. The feet of iron and clay, however, interpreted as the final stage, speaks of a fragmented global power structure, characterized by both strength and weakness, held together by uneasy alliances and intermarriages, political unions or treaties, yet ultimately unable to cohere. Does this not bear a startling resemblance to the modern geopolitical landscape of interconnected yet often warring nations? Powerful military blocs juxtaposed with fragile political structures. The imagery suggests a future marked by a lack of cohesive, singular empire, replaced by a complex, often volatile, international system. Another compelling example lies in Ezekiel chapter 38, which describes a prophecy against Gog of the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. This coalition of nations is depicted as rising in the latter days to attack Israel. While direct identification is complex and debated, many commentators over the centuries have attempted to link these ancient place names to modern nations. Magog has been associated with various northern peoples, with some suggesting a connection to Russia due to geographical considerations and historical migrations. Meshech and Tubal have been tentatively linked to regions that became part of modern-day Turkey. The description of this northern aggressor, leading a coalition including Persia, modern-day Iran, Kush, Ethiopia, Sudan, Put, Libya, Gomer, parts of Eastern Europe, and Beth Togarmah, another region associated with Turkey, presents a formidable alliance. You will come from your place out of the uttermost parts of the north, you and many peoples with you, a mighty army. This prophecy, concerning a large-scale invasion of Israel from the north in the latter days, continues to spark intense discussion among those who seek to align ancient texts with contemporary global events, particularly given the ongoing tensions in the Middle East and the shifting alliances of major powers. Even in Genesis, the foundational book, find prophecies regarding the descendants of Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. While broad, these blessings and curses are often seen as foundational for the destinies of various peoples. Japheth, for example, is blessed with enlargement and dwelling in the tents of Shem. Many scholars connect Japheth's descendants to the Indo-European peoples who settled Europe and Asia. And indeed, European and Western civilizations have often been characterized by expansion and influence across the globe, including significant interaction with Semitic cultures. While not pinpointing specific modern nations, these ancient pronouncements lay a thematic groundwork for understanding the broader trajectories of global populations. C. The hidden theological meaning. Beyond the sheer predictive power, these prophecies carry profound theological weight. They speak to the sovereignty of God over human history, His meticulous design unfolding through the seemingly chaotic ebb and flow of empires and nations. They remind us that even in the grand theater of global politics, there is a divine author at work. The rise and fall of powers are not random events but are woven into a larger narrative of judgment, redemption, and ultimately, the establishment of a divine kingdom that will supersede all earthly ones. The prophecies of national destinies serve as a constant reminder that human kingdoms are temporal and ultimately subservient to a higher authority. They instill a sense of humility, urging us to look beyond transient earthly allegiances to an eternal perspective. Furthermore, they underscore the concept of accountability. Nations, like individuals, are held to a divine standard, and their actions have consequences that echo through time. D. Controversies and theories. It is crucial to acknowledge that the interpretation of these prophecies regarding modern nations is fraught with complexities and has generated considerable debate throughout history. One major point of contention is the method of interpretation, literal versus symbolic. Should terms like Magog or iron and clay be understood literally as specific geographical locations and materials, or are they primarily symbolic representations of types of nations or characteristics of global power? Historical versus futurism. While some scholars see these prophecies as having been largely fulfilled in ancient history, others argue for a futurist interpretation where many aspects are yet to come to pass, directly relating to our present or near future. Ethnocentric bias. A significant challenge is avoiding the trap of ethnocentric interpretation, where modern interpreters might force ancient texts to fit their contemporary political biases or national interests. The temptation to identify one's own nation or its adversaries in prophecy is strong, requiring a humble and cautious approach. The gap theory and progressive revelation. Some theories suggest a long gap in prophetic fulfillment, allowing for the rise of modern nations, while the concept of progressive revelation implies that understanding deepens as history unfolds and new information comes to light. These controversies highlight the nuanced and often challenging nature of prophetic study. There is no single, universally accepted interpretation, and genuine humility is paramount for anyone seeking to decipher these ancient echoes. The discussions themselves, however, serve to keep the texts alive, inviting each generation to grapple with their profound implications. Part 3. Conclusion. The eternal resonance. As our candlelight flickers, We draw our journey to a close, not with definitive answers, but with a heightened sense of wonder. We have explored the tantalizing possibility that within the ancient scriptures lie not just tales of the past, but prescient glimpses into the very fabric of our modern world. From Daniel's statues depicting fragmented empires to Ezekiel's visions of northern coalitions, the echoes of nations known and unknown seem to ripple through the millennia. But what truly remains is not merely the fascination of predictive lore, but a deeper contemplation. Do these prophecies not beckon us to consider a narrative larger than ourselves, a divine hand orchestrating the grand symphony of history? They challenge us to look beyond the immediate headlines and fleeting alliances, to search for the enduring truths that underpin all human endeavors. Perhaps the greatest secret these ancient texts reveal is not just the foresight of nations, but the timeless message that while kingdoms rise and fall, there is an eternal purpose unfolding, inviting us all to find our place within its grand and mysterious design. Ancient echoes. Prophecies of modern nations